Welcome back to Takeout. Welcome to the Conversation Corner. Regulating artificial intelligence, well, it is, to put it mildly, a very hotly discussed topic on Capitol Hill, day in and day out. Today, OpenAI CEO Sam Altman held meetings with some heavyweights. House Speaker Mike Johnson, House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries, Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer. I mean, that's called making the rounds. Altman is fighting proposals that would require developers to obtain government approval before releasing brand new AI models. According to Politico, negotiators in the House are hoping by the end of this week to unveil a bipartisan AI regulation bill. Rae Kelly joins me now. She's Senior Managing Director at FTI Consulting. She's also the former Director for Cyber Incident Response on the National Security Council. Great to have you here. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
So about this executive order that came from the White House this week, long anticipated, went through many iterations, then it just popped up on the website with no fanfare whatsoever, highly unusual for a White House executive order. But it says, according to Politico, or represents, these are Politico's words, a sea change in Washington's willingness to tighten oversight of this technology. Also, Politico says it could pave the way for mandatory vetting, federal pre-approval of advanced AI systems, and other regulations. You agree with that assessment?
I think that assessment is right, but I think you have to look at what this administration has done since it began on AI specifically. You go back to January 2025, they put out an executive order that said we're going to win this race on AI. And
full steam ahead.
Full steam ahead. And by July, we have an AI action plan that says we're going out. We're, as you use your term, full steam ahead. That is absolutely what they were pushing. And now here we are 11 months later, and this executive order that dropped yesterday has a really interesting word in there that has security. It's about accelerating with innovation and security. And so now there's a lot of, we need to do this, but there's a lot of things of what are we thinking of? And so I believe that what we are seeing here, that sea change that was described by Politico, is really a recognition that this is going to be a balancing act. This isn't just going to be about accelerating the innovation. This is going to be about figuring out the accountability aspects, figuring out the risk management aspects. And I think it's a really good signal for all of us.
And the executive order has a set of days by which it wants advanced companies working in the AI space to provide the government some awareness of their newest models. Do I have that about right?
One way I heard it described is that it's really trying to engineer a window of opportunity. It's trying to give itself
For whom?
Well, exactly. For whom, right? So to be able to have researchers have that 30-day window to potentially patch vulnerabilities that could have really sweeping consequences for our critical infrastructure. 30 days is a really short window. But I think with what we've seen in the last year with some of these frontier models, it would have been very strange for them to not ask for that voluntary cooperation. And certainly that's what the lawmakers are thinking about now, is whether that voluntary cooperation is going to be enough.
And how do you assess the attitude of Congress on trying to jump in and wrap their arms around legislation, not just executive orders or federal regulation?
I think there's really been two camps that we've seen in Congress. There's been we need to accelerate, we need to go out there, or others.
Full steam ahead.
Right. Others are going to beat us, right? And there's a strategic innovation to doing more, faster, better. Absolutely. The nation state angle of it is really pushing those who are in that accelerate camp. But then there's also the accountability camp, which is what are we going to do to protect children? What are we going to do to secure our elections? What are we going to do to avoid deepfakes? And balancing that is really challenging. And underpinning all of it, we would be remiss to not note that in last year alone, over 1,000 bills were introduced at the state legislature level dealing with AI. So Congress is also asking itself, should we be responsible for this national framework? Are we really going to ask companies to comply with this disparate network, much like what we see in cybersecurity, a patchwork of regulations across the states? And so all of those questions are being asked on the Hill. And I think that I would be more surprised if we see something that's really sweeping. I think what we will see instead is, as specific risks come up, Congress will feel obligated to act to respond to them. But I think to come up with legislation that covers all bases would be really challenging.
This is an ongoing conversation, and we will have you back because, quite clearly, you know your stuff. Rae Kelly, thank you very much for that perspective. I appreciate it.